Hi Libra, great to see you. Come on in. I've just been doing some spiritual work, as you can probably gather, and what I'll do when I pull the cards is I'll bring that lamp across and shine them down onto the cards so you can see the really extraordinary artwork in these cards when I do your reading for you, because of course it's your Libra 2020 yearly reading, and I think this is going to be the best year yet for you. I think this is going to be a great year that you're going to be stepping into. But let's see what the cards have to say, shall we? I mean, for those of you who have seen me before, you know I use a lot of astrology, numerology, mysticism, and spiritualism, as well as the tarot in the cards. The astrology is esoteric astrology, sometimes different to the ordinary astrology, but I'll point out the ordinary astrology when we get to it. But we get to the bottom of matter, which is the main thing. So let's see what we have in store for you this month, this year. Where are we? That's got the vibe coming through now. I'm going to pull one card for each month of the year, and then I'll see what they have to say. So let's start with January. There's the Three of Wands. What a great start to the year for you, Libra. February, the Queen of Cups. What's this? It's leaping out of my hand, whatever that may be. The Three of Discs. Honestly, the paintings, the artwork on this deck is just beautiful, I think. And I think you'll really enjoy it because you're a connoisseur of all things fine. Are you not? Let's have a look at that one. There's the King of Cups. Good on you, King. I should tell you that some of these cards here have artistic depictions of people in the nude. So if you're frightened of artistic nudity, these are paintings, incidentally, not photographs, then go to the Disney Channel. Otherwise, we are going to stride ahead and do these things. There's the Ace of Swords, which I can assure you has no nudity in it. And there's July, the Two of Wands. Extremely interesting art. I just love them. There's the Justice card. What's something from in here? Why don't we take this one? There's the Empress. Do you know, I think the Empress is a beautiful and reaffirming energy for women. And I'll probably touch on why I do, depending on how the reading's going. But underlying it, it's of extraordinary benefit, particularly for women. Although it is for men as well, which is why I shall it. Well, I'll just make a mental note to. There's the Five of Wands, that card there, and the Page of Discs earlier. I would make a mental note to touch on those things. Mind you, there's no point me making a mental note because the messages just kind of stream through anyway, so we shall see. If it's intended, it shall be. It shall be as it shall be. And anyway, here's the card now for December, and let's see what that is. That is the Strength card. How wonderful for you. Okay. I'll bring this lamp across, shine it down on these cards so you can look at this artwork that I've been raving about. Together we can check it out, and I'll do your reading for you. All right, my Libra, now here we go from January through to June, and from July through to December. Now these are the overview, of course, for the months. There's much more detail in my monthly readings. Let's have a look at January first, and this card, which is the Three of Wands. Well, I think what's happened is that you have been mulling over at the end of 2019 what it is that you have got to do in 2020, and I think you now have the direction in January to get things underway. I call this card the Lord of Established Strength. It is the Sun in the second decan of Aries, 31st of March to the 9th of April.
Really, this is a card which is talking about ideas crystallizing and confirmation that you are on the right path, business expansion. I see also that a hobby may well become a business, if that's the type of thing that you're interested in. You've got the direction now, and the energy can be applied in order to be to the best result for yourself and to the world at large. I think this card, and of course I'm getting it from this eye, but I think it's talking about looking inside and outside with integrity, honesty, and no compromises. It seems to me that it might also be important for you to check the integrity of somebody else in January, and I think that somebody else may well be an Aries. But it's clear that this is important for you to operate from a place of integrity before making decisions in this time of January, and to have clarity of mind and heart before actions, because that way you will bring about the best result. And unless you do have that clarity, don't act. If you do have clarity of mind and heart, this is unambiguous energy for you to go full steam ahead. Now, what's interesting is, coming into February here, there may be a need for you to be careful of the environment that you're in, I suspect, and of the people who are around you. Now, here we have the Queen of Cups. What can we say about the Queen? Well, the first thing that I'll say is that Queens esoterically represent water, and cups, of course, esoterically are represented by water as well. And what happens when you put water and water together? Well, you get a transparency, you get a translucency. It's almost as if you can see right through it. I call this Queen the Queen of the Thrones of Water, and I suspect that people in your life at this time who are going to be important to you are Cancer and I think Gemini as well. Now, I think that generally the characteristics of this Queen depend mostly on the influences that affect her. She's very much at the disposal of every impact and impression. I think that, like her, you will, in this month, be a very keen observer of other people. You'll be very intuitive. Now, you may well find that you are quite dreamy and tranquil, almost poetic, kind, and yet sort of passive. And yet I see some sort of psychic ability with you during this period as well. I really do get that sort of psychic awareness that's coming up around here. I think that you will be intuitive and emotionally aware, able to get along with and relate to your friends in a very deep way, quite meditative, and comfortable being within yourself and by yourself also during this month. You'll be very practical and able to communicate your feelings and realizations with ease to other people. And I think that there will be a need for you to get in touch with your inner feelings and be able to express those to others. There's a need, I think, to develop intuitively, emotionally, and also to relate to others emotionally. Look, I think that she is very able to get along with other people. And I think that this woman, there's a dreaminess about her, an illusion and tranquility. Everything that passes through her is refracted and distorted. She's very influenced by the environment and by other people. There's a hint, I think, that the chief pleasure of this woman is to attract and to lead others. And such people can be very popular. And I think that you will be very popular in this month of February. The only thing that I would say for you to look out for is this, and that is that because she is so translucent and so able to reflect and to take on the energy of others, it's very important that you surround yourself with people who are positive and who don't suck the energy and life out of you, because you are going to be very influenced by your environment. Here we come into March, and we have the Three of Discs. Well, the Three of Discs for me, isn't this a beautiful card? Here we go. The first thing I'll say is that I love the three. The three is about gestation, like the creation of a baby inside the flesh of the woman. It's about expansion. It's about development. It's about increase. And this is to do with expansion, development, and increase is to do with, your money, and I think your standard of living as well. Now, I call this card the Lord of Material Work. It is, for me, Mars in the second decan of Capricorn, the 3rd to the 12th of January. Now, Mars is about energy, assertion, vitality, and Capricorn is about ambition, practicality, making things tangible. Now, in ordinary astrology, Mars is also exalted in Capricorn, and so the energy of Mars here in this spread, where it's positioned between these two Cups cards, you've got the Queen of Cups here and the King of Cups, with the Empress underpinning it. Here, the energy of Mars is muted, and Mars behaves itself. Normally, Mars is a great problem, I think, but here Mars is behaving itself, and its energy is very constructive in its scenario in Capricorn, and rather than its usual destructive self. Now, Capricorn's materialism benefits from the energy and activity of Mars in this spread for you. So this card signifies that investing time and effort in work, however broadly you may want to define that, is going to turn out very favorably for you. Going to turn out very, very favorably for you. I see gradual progress, duty to yourself, and a great deal of self-confidence is what I'm also getting. Look, I think you're getting reward for your hard work and dedication. Your skills and knowledge will move you forward. Good outcomes for career, business projects, and practical matters in general. These three characters seem to be in balance, don't they? And I think that you need to follow things which are fulfilling for your body, your mind, and your heart. Life generally is going to be in balance for you during this month, and you'll be reaping the rewards of a balanced life. There'll be great ability to stick with things and overcome obstacles and live life. Set your sails high, set your spinnaker and let it fill with wind, because the energy of the cosmos is blowing you in the right direction. Now here we come into April, and we have the King of Cups. Well, what can I say about the King? The first thing is about the King is that esoterically, kings are fire, and as we just mentioned, Cups is about water. So we have the fiery part of water. And what do you think that might bring about? Well, it might bring about some sort of a conflict, don't you? Because fire and water don't really mix. Now, who is this if it's a person in your life? I think it may well be a Pisces, or it could well be an Aquarius, I think. Yeah. The Lord of waves and waters, the King of the hosts of the sea. He's mostly passive with the qualities of Venus or of a weak Jupiter. He's friendly, but in a sort of a passive way. But he is on the whole superficial, I think, and it's hard to reach his depth. His name is written in water, I would say. He is a man with, oh look, I'll just be frank about it. I think it's a man with commitment issues, friendly but passive, as I say, somebody who's very attracted to excitement, someone who can also have an unsustainable enthusiasm for things, sensitive, but actually really quite shallow, I have to say. Yeah, someone who's deep down and shallow. He tends to mismanage his affairs, and unless he's had good luck, then his career can be a sort of an unbroken record of failure. There's often mental civil wars going on in his head, and this comes from the conflict of fire and water. And this can sometimes lead to mental health issues, I think. Certainly it can lead to substance abuse. So I get very much around here the abuse of stimulants, narcotics, that can precipitate mental health issues, I think. These can be male or female, these court cards, as you know. Because they happen to be drawn one way, but it's the energy that's necessary. I'll say one thing about this person here, and it is this: is that they can be quite inspirational, right? They have a spark to them. They have that swiftness of fire, but there's not a lot of depth to their personality because of that combination, the inherent nature of conflict within the elements. Now, the gay and lesbian communities can make the necessary adjustment here. I'll say this. This is a man who loves the opposite sex, and the opposite sex loves him. Or it's a woman who loves the opposite sex, and the opposite sex loves them. Yeah. At best, someone who can be loving and generous, supportive and tender, can be capable of quite high spiritual achievement, interestingly, but there's someone who's not in your life for very long. They're ruled by emotions, not very practical, and will generally try to flatter you rather than pay their share of the expenses, I think. They can often be intensely secure, needing constant reassurance, and at worst, they are unfaithful, fickle, shallow, highly emotional, and just downright unreliable. I don't think there's any particular messages coming up for you there other than to just be aware of that person around you. Look, they can be great fun to be with, just don't go making any long-term plans with them. Now, here's another cups. Look, you've had the Queen, the King, and now the Page of Cups. I don't see any other court card in cups with you. I think you're going to be really quite romantic during this month of May. There's maybe a romance that you get with a King of Cups type character. Or it may be a romance that you have, a reinvigoration of a romance within an existing coupled relationship. Well, pages esoterically are earth, and cups, as we know, are water. So we have the earthy part of water. Now, what I have here for her is that, I call her the Princess of the Palace of the Floods. She really represents to me, I think, for you, the crystallization of ideas. I'll refer to her as a woman because she looks like one, bearing in mind my previous comment about courtyards, but a young woman who's very gracious, voluptuous, sweet, gentle, kind, romantic, and dreamy, rather. The princess represents the earthly part of water, and in particularly that faculty of crystallization, of making things come together. She represents the power of water to give substance to idea, to support life, and to form the basis of chemical combination. The character of this person is infinitely gracious. All sweetness and voluptuousness, gentleness, kindness, and tenderness are in her character. She lives, I think, in a kind of a world of romance and the perpetual dream of rapture, so you may well find yourself swept off your feet by somebody. Superficially, other people might think her to be selfish and lazy, but this is really, I think, a false impression, because she goes about her work silently and effortlessly. Very sensitive. There may be a lack of kind of practical grounding in her, almost a dissolution of all solidity, if you like. But the funny thing is, as I say, I think she's actually very good at making things happen, making ideas come together. I'd have this thought in mind. The more I love myself, the more I can share with others. She's very romantic. She can be a dreamer and not engaging in life, and she lives in a world of romance. Now look, it's quite okay during this period, I think, for you to be dependent on others, I think is what this card is also saying. You can be dependent on others because you kind of have that owing to you in a way. You've been very supportive of other people, and this is saying that it's quite okay during this time to go and seek support and assistance from other people, and that support and assistance from other people will be forthcoming to you. Let's have a look in June. Quite interesting, aren't they, these cards, I must say. I quite like the artwork on them. They bring up to me thoughts and imagery, I suppose, which is probably quite unlike most of the tarot readers, but it makes a lot of sense to me. Here's the Ace of Swords. Well, the Ace is the seed of the suit, and generally swords can be a little bit problematic because they are produced from the union of the suits of fire, being wands, and water, cups. So that kind of conflict, that love-hate sort of thing, ends up with this suit of swords, which is a little bit like the child of the warring parents. People around you during this time, I think I'm getting, are Aquarius, Pisces, and Capricorn. Yeah, very much so. This energy that's with this suit here in swords, this is the great potential and the potential of the mind. It can be used to cause harm to others, as we so often see in people lacking higher awareness, or it can be used for great good. The reason I say that is that conflict is the intrinsic nature of swords. However, for you, and I think that, well, the Lord of the root of the powers of air, quick fire thoughts and ideas are what I'm getting here from you. This is a card which is all about intellectual clarity, original thinking, brilliant powers of thought, almost what you might consider to be divine inspiration into getting the resolution of a situation for you. Really quick thought, quick fire thoughts and ideas dramatically coming through. A period of great insight and clarity, and it signifies what for you might be a sort of a eureka moment of achievement. And goals are going to become much easier for you to get done. You're going to have a new perspective on life that was previously unclear, and so you can cut through to the heart of the matter. You've gained a new vision and will pursue opportunities which draw upon your creative and mental abilities. I really get the impression also, interestingly, of you standing up for the rights of other people during this time, and in particular, also standing up for the rights of yourself. See, swords is a weapon, and it can be used to threaten or to defend. And I think that you might be doing a bit of threatening of other people to make sure that their behaviour is kept in check. Now, in July, we have the Two of Wands. The imagery is fairly unremarkable on this card, I suppose, unless you're an artist, I suppose. Here I have the Lord of Dominion and power in this card. It is Mars ruling the first decan of Aries. Mars in its own sign, in the suit of fire. Will in its most potent form, acting without caring about the consequences. You may well be in a situation of dominating another person or a situation, or not being satisfied with your lot, and focusing on your intent, I think, really focusing in on your intent. Now, it's interesting because just above it, you had that Three of Wands. Remember the Three of Wands that was sitting up here? Well, the Two is sitting just underneath it. I'd say this, if you're in a challenging situation, sit down upright and comfortably. Breathe deeply into your abdomen. Wait until your breathing flows gently and calmly and you feel quite relaxed. Now visualize the situation at hand and see yourself dealing with it while remaining centered, and have the affirmation, I find the strength I need now in my center. I think you're being overcome by boldness, courage, fierceness, and, well, dare I say it, some degree of shamelessness about you. You will be generous and proud, but I get the feeling there might also be a certain amount of revenge and resolution associated with you during this period. Could that be right, gentle Libra? I think that this energy here is suggesting to me that your will is going to be beginning to rebel against its predisposed boundaries come hell or high water, and using your willpower to break through stagnant situations and remove long-standing blocks. It's a time to act, and act on instinct and what you believe to be right without overthinking the situation. I have to say also that I think there is going to be very much a time where other people perceive you as being something of a natural leader. Do you know? I think you will be seen as being a natural leader. Let's have a look at this card here. The card is Justice. Here she is. Let's have a look at her. She really reminds me of that ancient Egyptian goddess Mart with the feather. The ancient Egyptian religion said that when the person died, their heart, because the heart was considered to be the person, it was put on a balancing scale. So I have a real association with Libra, right? With Libra in this card. It was put on a balancing scale. The heart on one side of the scale and the feather on the other side of the scale. Now, if the feather and the heart remained in balance, the person was able to go on with Osiris into the afterlife and to have a continued life after the death of the body. If it didn't, if the heart, because of the deeds of the person through life, outweighed the feather, then the person, the spirit, was basically put into extinction. It didn't suffer any long-standing punishment or torment, but it just was extinguished from existence. Well, I have Venus ruling Libra in this card with Saturn exalted. Now, Libra emphasizes the energy of this card as being all about balance and equilibrium. There's a great deal of I'm getting karmic cause and effect associated here with you, bringing a situation into balance. I see. Yeah, Venus ruling with Saturn exalted. Venus ruling your sign, Libra. Saturn exalted. The daughter of the lords of truth, the ruler of the balance. This card is about self-control, about justice, balance, adjustment, suspension of action pending decisions, sometimes stepping back and getting a good idea of what's going on before making a decision in relation to something is what I'm having. It can represent also, I think, just cutting through all the dross of a situation where you get that, or it could, it's something that you make happen and it requires constant assessment and tending on your part. This is also representing leadership to me, and that's what I got from that Two of Wands in front of you. So there is this period of leadership here. Yeah, readership. It's a good time to write, I think. Start a journal or start a diet or a gym program, exercising or balancing the credit card statements. I'm just having these thoughts that are coming through. Even if I wander from you, you are there. Your pleasure ever leads me into the depths of you. Your chastening hand is the caress of reclaiming me. I walk through the alley of hell, in the byways of my deeds, and the stifling heat is the clasp of your embrace and the holding me tight unto you. Yeah. I'd have this thought in mind, and that is, I am balanced and centered. I honor my word. I value being truthful in difficult situations. The abundance and beauty of nature is a reflection of my own nature. I think there'll be some sort of taking stock of your life to see what is useful and what should be let go, thinking clearly about life ahead, and being aware that all actions have consequences. You know, that karmic energy that I'm getting there. I think that you're getting a clear vision of possibilities and choices ahead of you, and applying your insights that you have so far acquired through your life to put them to good use, to have a balanced and happy life. And I think also you're going through the process, I think, of discovering and then following your true path and what gives it the most meaning. Well, let's have a look at this next card here. The Empress card. Well, I love the Empress. Oops, excuse me. I just bash my head on the side of the camera thing there. Who would I sue? Let's have a look. The Empress. Well, there are two mother archetypes in the first few major arcana. The High Priestess, who is cold and remote, the empty void or ocean. And then there is the Empress, who is warm, nurturing, and overflowing with diversity and abundance. She's kind of like a camel going across the desert, in that she carries her child first in her body and then out into the world through birth. But the Empress isn't just the mother to a single child. She is the symbol of the mother of everything, the abundance and fertility of creation. And she carries all things across the void of creation and into the world of manifestation. She takes the child and carries it in her body, covering it with her flesh, and takes it across the threshold from spirit to matter. She carries it out of the dark forest and into the bright sun. Well, I think that you may well be having some mother relationship time here, or it could be because I've got this strength of this Justice card coming through next to it. It could also be a paternal time. It's possible that you'll be spending time or having things to talk about with your mother or with your father. It is also the case that you may well be spending time with a father or mother, or with a maternal figure, or with a paternal figure. And in fact, because I've got this page of discs coming behind it here, I also see that you may well be acting as a mother. You could be a mother or a father, or acting as a father figure or a mother figure to someone else. The daughter of the mighty ones. She is Venus, and she is associated for me with the earth. Yeah. I think that I'm getting a lot of thoughts of pregnancy around here, and it's not just because of this child that's on the back of the woman, but I am getting pregnancy, and even see this energy's moving around here as well. So I think that you might feel or come to know of pregnancy during this period of when July, August, September, pregnancy around there, hear of it or know someone, could be you if you're of that age. Being in touch with the beauty of your life is something that I'm very much getting. Certainly that exploration of relationships with parents or acting in a parental relationship to somebody else. I think you'll be very empathetic and caring during this time. And this card really reminds us that spirituality is expressed from the heart and not from the head. You know, God isn't something that you just think about. God is everywhere. It's in you and everywhere. And just be. And just be, but just be aware that you are with the divinity when you just be. And that's the best prayer that you can ever give. I think very much the question of nurturing others and nurturing yourself is very important during this period. Nurturing yourself, because you give a lot, and it is time for you to take a bit of a breather for yourself and take some time for yourself and spoil yourself. I have this thought in mind during this period as well, and it is, I give and receive wisely. I realize that the capacity to receive is equally as powerful as the capacity to give. I value the healing power of beauty and love. I'm just having these thoughts coming through, and it is, you are about me and through me. Your kisses are all at once in all places. The moist folds of your skin are open and engulfing and devouring the whole of me. Yet I am the gate, and the shaft of your burning and luminous love impales me and rips me and feeds me, even as your mouth, your touch, your womb swallows me up. Yeah. Visualize your ideal woman. Write down her most important qualities. Try to find these in others and in yourself, and surround yourself with beauty and abundance. And this is going to be a very highly creative time for you. And again, this coming through this whole line here, it's time to really own your leadership ability. Now, I've been getting that from the Two of Wands. I've been getting it again from the Justice card, and here it is in the Empress card. Very much this requirement for you to go and earn your leadership ability here. You should take a patent out on it, whatever it is, and try and sell it and make a fortune. And here we go, the page of discs. Well, we know that esoterically that discs are earth and pages are earth, so we have the earthy part of earth. Now, I'll speak of this baby as if it's a little child, and I'll call her the princess of the echoing hills, the rose of the palace of the earth. People around you that are important at this time are going to be Taurus, it's going to be Aries, and it's going to be Gemini. Yeah, very much so. Now, Page is the lowest court card, and Discs is the lowest suit. Now, although the lowest court card in the lowest suit, she carries with her the energies of all the other suits and kind of cycles them back. She's perpetuating life as if she were pregnant, and that is cosmically and physically. She's the cycle and reincarnation of the life. Pregnancy, I've got to say, I'm getting again birth, so that period where the month before I heard of it, I think it's going to be something which is coming through in there. This is someone who is kind and benevolent and following their will or true purpose in life. And I see that this is about getting in touch with that most important aspect of you and protecting it. Just in the same way as this little baby is protected in a crib and with these swaddling clothes and these little shoe things here. I think what this does mean, though, is that, interestingly, I think that this represents a productive time for you after what you might think has been a barren stretch. And I think you're going to be quite peaceful with nature and just avoid arguments during this period, because I don't think that you're going to be great at dealing with conflict during this period in October. You know, your time, don't use this time in October of yours, your month and the week before it. Don't get into arguments, avoid conflict. It's be a lover and not a fighter during this period. Getting very much marriage and motherhood and domestic life rather than a career. So very, very good for people pursuing domestic life around the home, beautifying gardens, looking after families, dealing with elders. Very good for that. Great empathy with other people. I'd have this thought in mind, and it is this. It is that... well, actually, before I have that thought... I'm really thinking that the kind of the characteristics of this energy here are many, but to summarize it, she is womanhood in its ultimate projection. She contains all the characteristics of woman, and whichever one manifests depends on the influence that is exerted on her by others. And so she can be kind of really inconsistent. A bewildering inconsistency can be about during this life, rather like picking a number out of a lottery as to what you might get. That's just a feeling that's just come up. But I would now, as I say, think about this during the month, and it is, I am now ready for the new beauty in my life. And so you should be. Now let's have a look at this card here, which is the Five of Wands. Hello, Five of Wands. The first thing that I'll say about the Five of Wands is, well, Wands, of course, is a suit of fire. Now, numerologically, the five for me often deals with exaggeration, with conflation. It deals with chaos. It deals with things moving off their predicted path. It also is a very creative number in a way as well. And it also deals with some degree of restriction. And it is a number which, for me, is associated with the planet of Mars. Now, the astrology of this card, let's pull it out a bit so it doesn't go in and out of focus, which drives me crazy. The astrology of this card for me is Saturn in the first decan of Leo, 23rd of July to the 2nd of August. I caught this card the Lord of Strife. All right. Now, I give it that name, but what I mean by that is it means that there are things to be done. It's not sitting in an armchair, but rather it's a time to get up and deal with things and actually compete and push yourself forward. Saturn in Leo. Well, Saturn and Leo don't get on. Leo wants to be creative and express itself, while Saturn is cold, dense, and wants to set boundaries and limits. Now, Leo here is a fire sign, and it's in a fire suit of wands, and added to by the energy of Mars here with this number 5. What happens is that all of this just gets dampened down by the energy of Saturn. So we have the astrological energies for me are in discord. So we can have the possibility of unrest, disagreements, internal battles, competition, problem solving, but also a great degree of sexual arousal and sexual activity is what I'm getting here in November. And that's good, no doubt. There is also, I think, the possibility that you might find yourself in the middle of a conflict or some tension or competition, and that's impacting upon your ability to move things forward. Now, of course, sometimes conflict can be really useful, such as brainstorming, or conflicts can be useful because they force you to smarten yourself up, to look better, to get fit, to organize yourself, to push yourself forward. And this card and this energy, and with this strength card sitting right behind it, and with that page there, and with this King of Cups diagonally above it, it suggests to me that you could be in competition with people who basically have the same qualities and experiences as you do. Now, you may not have had to face the fire of competition before, but now you will, and you will learn what it means, and you will learn in particular what it requires. But I think that this is going to be sorted out within a period of 5 weeks of that time. Do you know, I'm having the impact of an angel's energy around here. The angel is called Jerethiel. Jerethiel is one of the 72 names of God. I won't go into how they're derived, but to put it in a nutshell, that in the Hebrew text, because the Hebrew letters are significant, it's derived from a book of the Old Testament, or the Hebrew Bible, called the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verses 19 to 21. That's where they come from. Anyway, that name of Jerethiel, it substitutes for the name Lord in another book of the Hebrew Bible, or Old Testament, called the book of Psalms. And I'm pretty sure it's Psalm 140, verse 2, which says, "Rescue me, O Lord, from evil men. Save me from the lawless." Now, meditating on that name of Jerethiel and on that verse, Psalm 140, verse 2, it will remove the evil ones, the dark forces' presence from your earnings and its destructive influence from your life. The light will now be your silent partner, and you will be surrounded by protection. So you see, you will have friends in high places, And let's see what we have now to crown the year, which is this major arcana, the card of strength. This is December. Well, the first thing that I'll say is this, and you might say for obvious reasons, I get a lot of Leo around this card, and I think that Leo is going to be important to you. Yeah, so much so that I actually even see the astrology as being the sun ruling Leo with Uranus exalted. The daughter of the flaming sword, I call this card. This is about having a lust for life. It's saying that you will have courage, strength, control of life forces. And you know, it can even mean a great love affair. And I'm getting that feeling of a great love affair. Now, that can be a deepening of love within a coupled relationship, or it can be a new affair which comes along and which is actually a great love affair that's there. Very much so, I think, very much so. I think what we're getting is that you say you will have the confidence and strength to say what you are going to say, and you're also going to listen. It's going to be intellectual muscle over physical power at this time. It's a gentle power, one that comes from confidence and conviction is what I'm getting. You may well be challenging conventional views on what a spiritual path should be like and what qualities are needed to pursue or teach the spiritual way. You're definitely going to be having a passion for a particular situation. Oh, I'm just having these words. You are the rose to my cross. Find new life in my heart. You are the moon to my sun. And I, the wine to your cup. I pour the whole of me into you. Yeah, I think that this is about engaging in life to the fullest, being comfortable with your sexuality, accepting your carnal desires for what they are and rejoicing in them, but not letting them throw your life out of balance. And I think, I'm still getting that passionate relationship with sexual and emotional intensity. I think I'd also do something because I liked doing it during this time. I'd have this thought in mind, and it is this, that I enjoy living to the utmost. I enjoy expressing my energy, vitality, and enthusiasm in all that I experience. I am a person of character and strength. I have unlimited creative resources to tap and to express. You know, I think this might be your best year ever. That's the way it is for you.
Well, there you go. That's it. Your 2020 annual reading done. I tell you what, I think that this is going to be your best year ever. I really do have that feeling about it. I've got to say that the vibe that's come out of that reading of yours is very, very positive, and you should be looking forward to this year. By the way, I just want to say also that you've been fabulous, you've been great, and in fact you've been brilliant, and you've played your part of this exercise to perfection, and I thank you for that. Look, really all that remains for me to say is this, that you are a legend, and I hope I see you in my monthly readings. Subscribe if you want, but check out the videos anyway. Till then, bye for now.